Breaking news, breaking news. To a lot of people out there who say that they vote don't matter. Well, that they don't say they vote don't matter. They say voting is not important. They pick sides and they choose and they see who, well, they said the system don't work for us black folks. They say the system only work for a certain type of people, but you see what's going on down in Georgia, how one state can tilt the pot going in the right direction. So talked to my brother yesterday, Sherrod Fleming, and told me somebody said Jeezy is irrelevant. You know, anybody that think Young Jeezy, Snowman is irrelevant, that's because they're not paying attention to what's going on in society. You know, probably irrelevant to your conversation and your topic. Had a group yesterday and we was talking about what's the definition of definition? What's the definition of you? Is your true definition of yourself the same definition that others have of you? Are you caught up in your own warp zone, your own twilight zone? Or are you in touch with reality about how you really are as an individual? Too many times we get caught up in conversations that don't mean nothing about nothing. This is not about which side you on, Republican, Democrat, none of that stuff. It's about trying to make things better. Watching the Laker game last night, they played Memphis. Anybody that's been to Memphis knows that the King, and every time LeBron James is mentioned, they can't mention LeBron James. It's like three great players of my generation and our era, like right now, this generation. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James right now. And they all had their different times, but all three of those guys seem to be put against each other, competition. You can't like one without liking the other, and that's what's going on. Every time someone mentions LeBron James, they mention he's not Jordan, or he's not Kobe, or they mention Kobe, he's not LeBron, or he's not Michael. They mention Michael, and all this stuff. Everything is about competition. LeBron James has a lot of haters, which I was one at one point in time until I started really paying attention to what this dude means to society and what type of leader he's trying to become. In Memphis, they played last night, and he probably was inspired by, if you walk outside of FedEx Field or FedEx Forum, turn left, and a couple of steps down is the great museum where the great Dr. King took his last, or had his last stand. So, you know, if you're ever in Memphis, you know, go on down and look around and get you some barbecue. They second in comparison to Kansas City, a city that's in conflict with right now during playoff time. But you know, Memphis, the king, the dream, the king, the GOAT. That's what they call him, LeBron James. And Kobe Bryant's still my favorite of all time, the best I've seen do it. But you know, you got to tip your cap. But getting back to conversation, too many people have conversations that don't amount to nothing, which leads to not being productive in life. And in talking about what's your definition of yourself, define yourself. What defines you and what's your true definition? Too many of us are making decisions based on emotions. Too many of us are trying to make other people happy. Do you know who yourself is? Are you happy with where yourself is? Are you happy with where you're going? I ask people all the time, write a letter to yourself, to your future self, asking your future self, how did you get there? Ask your future self, write yourself a letter. Write this stuff down. So, it's just like the whole process of writing and knowing. And I had a group last night, and it was about, I don't wish upon nobody to have to go learn themselves the way I had to go learn myself, because only time and reflection, and people don't take enough time in the day to reflect on who they are. So take your time throughout the day, whether it's an hour or two. I just was fortunate enough, or unfortunate enough, to have to go do all that time in prison to study myself, because nothing else matters if you don't know yourself. Whole concept of the day, this breaking news is things matter, even though they don't matter to you. Everybody's watching Georgia. Everybody's watching what's going on down there in that doing the voting, and try to hope that the Democrats can win the Senate, and they can sweep it, and they can start passing out these checks to people. And if that's what your main agenda is, that's what your main agenda is. If you're waiting for a check, you vote. But if you didn't vote, you ain't got nothing to say about nothing. Too many people complain and ain't voting because they don't think they one vote matter, but the one Googled with the masses helps. You Trump supporters, got y'all prayed up, because y'all don't know what it is. Ignorance is no excuse. What they say in courts, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So get ready for the Big Ben show this weekend, this Sunday, 5 p.m. Happy birthday to people's birthdays coming up, and it's time for this thing. So watch your conversation, watch your content, watch what you talk about, watch who you hang around. It's tighten your game up. We too old to be acting like we kids. We ain't kids no more. My breaking news. Watch your conversation. Your vote matters. See what's going on. Pay attention. Be role models. Yada 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 yada. Mr. 5Gs. My 2 cents. Just the facts. Back to your regular scheduled program. Mamba out.